Alrighty, here we go. It's been 2 weeks since we've last read a chapter, and boy, did the last chapter end on quite the freaking reveal. Terrible time for there to be a break week, in my opinion. Anyway, I have a new hat, I have a new mic. This hat, honestly, feels cheaper than the other costume prop, but it costs, honestly, almost 3 times as much, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. Hat quality is all over the place. Anywho, without further ado, we are once again live. We are streaming, informed my Discord. Have I told my Discord that I've gone live? I told them that we're about to. Alright, let's just ping them all. Alrighty, we are now live. So, there's been a lot of React content on the channel lately. None of it One Piece, because we had a break week. The anniversary patch for Honkai Star Rail is about to come out this week, so you'll probably be seeing me upload content on that, probably as early as 2 days from now. Or if you're watching this in the future on YouTube, then odds are it'll be tomorrow. But that's enough about that. Just a reminder, I do let people know what I'm streaming and when I'm streaming on Discord. If you want to stay up to date, that's the place to go and do it. Otherwise, just click on these videos. And if you're from the far-flung future watching these videos retroactively, say hi. I will probably still see your comment. Anywho. Last week, we got the reveal of Emo Neurona. I believe Emu Neurona Descends was the name of last week's chapter, or I guess it's 2 weeks ago's chapter. So we're now going to start moving into this week's chapter, which is chapter 1180. OMEN. Doesn't specify good or bad, so I don't really know. And I see Dr. Vegapunk, Chopper, and I think Nami on the cover page, so it looks like it's another reader request. Vegapunk modifying Zeus to rain candy instead of water. Depending on how canon you accept some of the filler arcs to be, there was that one filler arc, I believe, on Spa Island, where they create, like, candy rain. And also, I wouldn't be surprised, given the geological features of Totland, if candy rain was just a thing. There's a sea of juice, after all, over there that turns solid at some points, so who the hell knows what's actually possible? But I think that's enough of me rambling on about page 1. So let's just start with the practical stuff, and let's go move on to page 2. And it's a double spreader already, pages 2 and 3. And we're picking up immediately where we left off. We don't even cut to anyone else. It's just Emu, front and center. No Oda box, no nothing. The forest, the statue, and all the wooden structures are still singing oohing and ahhing. There's some musical notes in the text boxes. And Emu speaks. Who is the king of this land? And who do you think you are? This land has no king. Oh. We see someone plucking Sommers from somewhere. So, Sommers is still around. He's been captured, so I'm wondering what's going to happen to Sommers. Is Emu about to, like, take the powers back from Sommers like they did to, Saint Saturn? I wonder what's going to happen now. There's so much going on, probably in future pages, that there's not much for me to comment on here, because it's basically Emu taking up 30% of the entire page, just spawned up the middle like a tree. Like, you see where my arms are on the screen? Everything underneath that is just Emu on the panel, which means everything else that's happening is like the panels outside of my arms. So, without further ado, let's move on to pages 4 and 5, because I would like to see what Emu's response is to the giants yelling at him. We cut to Gerd. Oh yeah, that's right. Gerd is the one that's holding Sommers. I forgot about that. What art thou doing, Sommers? Huh. What happened? Did Gerd drop him? Oh! Oh god! Did he cut off her fingers? Just so that she would let go? That's horrifying. Gert's fingers, bastard. How gruesome. Who is that guy? Or no, did Emu cut the fingers? Because Emu's also in the panel and they have that weird jagged polearm looking thing. Did they cut Gert's fingers? Snick snack, by the way, was the onomatopoeia that they chose to be the sound effect of her, like, index finger and thumb being cut in half. Oh! Sommers has recovered his weird steel heart thingy. Are you in the Knights of God too, says Zoro? Either way, he's an enemy. Haruden's gonna go for a punch. Wait, Stanson's telling him to stand back, and with that, we got Harden with a punch wound up, and we're about to move on to pages 6 and 7. Where do we go from here? If Stanson's telling him not to attack him, something bad's gonna happen. And I wonder if Emu is gonna have similar regenerative properties that the Knights have had. I don't think a lot of us have commented on this yet, but it's still a relative unknown on whether or not Emu can take damage. I missed it in my reaction to the last chapter, but apparently they were coughing up blood and had blood coming out of their mouth in the reveal panel. And if I go back to page 2 and 3, they do not have blood on their mouth in any of these panels. So there might be a time limit to how long Emu could be here outside of the Holy Land. We don't know. But let's move on to pages 6 and 7. We don't know what he can do. Stanton just kicked Harden out of the way before the punch connects. That's funny. We don't know what he can do. Stay away from him. Alright, Brogy. Who is that? King of Health, resource certain. Oh, Purgatory. Onigiri. Zoro's going to attempt to hit him. And the arrow tail that took out King Cobra. Looks like it deflects Zoro and sends him flying. Oh, he's using a power. He's got a black flame in his hand, and he says, Omen! And it's going straight for Zoro's face, I guess? And that's the end of pages 6 and 7. So we have Stanson wanting Haruden to take it slow. Meanwhile, I guess Zoro doesn't give two shits and is just going to go all out and hit him with a Purgatory Onigiri. Only for it to get deflected by Emu's tail, it seems. Or blocked. Hard to tell by the paneling. There is a ka-ching sound effect from the sword hitting tail, so that tail is making metal sound effects when it gets clanged against with metal. Alright, let's move on to pages 8 and 9. Oh, what happened? Did he just blow a kiss? And Zoro's on fire now? Whatever it is, it seems to have sent Zoro flying. Alright, it looks like Haruden's coming back now with an axe hand overhead swing. Wham. And doesn't look like this is going to connect either, because it looks like the fire is turning into something? It looks like it has teeth, whatever it is. And it's going to completely encase Haruden in flames or something. Is he down? He's coughing up blood. What are these black flames? Ah, yes, Omen. Okay, I guess we're about to get the big explanation of what the hell is going on. I've been very vocal about this in the past, but I'm not actually a big fan of combat chapters or fight chapters because so much of the paneling is dedicated towards movement that not a lot of actual stuff is happening. Which, honestly, is something that I would like to bring up for people that are complaining about the speed of the One Piece live action as well, when they're worried about how many chapters are going to get adapted into some of these longer arcs. Some of these longer arcs are longer because of the fight scenes. A fight scene, when it gets animated into an actual episode with realistic pacing, like a 5-page fight scene could be like 5 to 10 seconds of animation or film. So, like, when you're condensing manga for a live-action adaptation, or even for an anime adaptation, the more fights that occur in an arc, the shorter the arc actually is. And on that note, let's move on to pages 10 and 11. Okay, here we go. Make haste, Sommers. There is little time. Yes, great one. Sommers has like a black halo around him of fire from OMEN, I guess. Similar to the black ring around Emu that's covered in eyes. The buildings are getting closer. They're still singing. Gather the injured and the knocked out kids. Warning to all of Elbaph. Some kind of being greater than the Knights of God has landed on the island. Be on guard. Okay. We're using the transponder snail to let everybody know. What's here now? You mean it's not over? Keep your weapons on you. We've had enough of these fires and collapses. Yeah, that's right. They only just now managed to deal with all the fires. Mostly due to Zeus, which I think happened also last chapter. If Emu is flying away and he's taking Sommers with him, I bet they're going to go meet up with... maybe they're going to go free Gunko from the ice block that Loki said only Ragnir can undo. Well, we're just getting a lot of reaction shots here, so this is pretty much not much more for me to add here, so I guess we'll just move on to pages 12 and 13. Yep, it looks like he went straight towards the ice block. I was correct. What is he doing? Is he charging up fire again? He's making a weird ghost fire explosion. Did he target the ice block with it? Okay, I guess we're cutting to Gabon now. What's going on? Even God Valley, I never felt hockey like this. Alright, we just cut to Gabon for that one quote, and then we immediately cut somewhere else. Walrus School. You charred it. Beggars can't be choosers. It's better than being frozen. Okay, I guess Loki and Luffy are still eating over here, I guess, with the rest of the crew. Now stockpile your energy. I think we've got a real monster on the island now. Okay. What's happening? I don't know, but the hockey is tremendous. If it's an ally of the Knights of God... Okay, Jinbei is commenting. Does Jinbei know this hockey or recognize this hockey? That'd be really weird if Jinbei does. I can't imagine when Jinbei would have interacted with Emu. Granted, he was a warlord of the sea for who knows how many years. And probably may have been to the Holy Land a time or two. Maybe he could sense it, maybe he couldn't. That's a good question. The warlords have had to meet up in Marijoa before for, like, meetings and shit, so it makes me wonder how many of the warlords of the sea could have possibly sensed Emu within Pangaea Castle. Doflamingo, I think, would definitely be up there because he's already aware of Emu's existence. It's very obvious from his ex-Celestial Dragon heritage, probably. He also seems to know what the Great Treasure of Marijoa is, so who knows. But I guess let's just keep pressing on. It's time to go to pages 14 and 15. We're burning through this chapter. It's not even been 15 minutes yet, and I feel like we're almost done. They might be after... Oh, yep, Killingham. Great one. Thank you for the omen. Hey, who's that? So there's an omen around Killingham, too. He's dangerous, Sanji. Who said you could release him? What happened? Sanji's throwing a big kick at him, but I can't really tell what's happening. Did somebody block Sanji's kick? Yeah, Emu's here. Did Emu block Sanji's kick and kick him back? What happened? Actually, Emu's foot is like the entire size of Sanji, the way that this panel is framed. So I guess that's not that surprising. Okay. I guess we're going to go to pages 16 and 17, which is, again, probably the last 2 pages of the chapter. It is the last 2 pages of the chapter. Sanji, no. What are these black flames? Hey, what do you want with Elbaph? Okay. I searched for the killer of my faithful servant Harold, who was slain here for 14 years past. He was not your servant. Harold was my father, the king of Elbaph. And I'm the man you're looking for. I see. If not for thee, all this trouble would have been avoided. Here, in the real world, you deal with me and Elbaph. Remember that, clown. Okay. So it looks like we're going to get Loki versus Emu in the next chapter. And this chapter was more or less over now. It took me about less than 15 minutes to read all of it because it was so much action paneling that not a whole lot happened. Obviously, the big highlight image is the first pages of page 2 and 3 where we get this big, really good look at Emu. They have a weird, like, polka dot looking upper torso. They're tatted up the wazoo with like lines on the arms and dots all over the upper body. And then they got this long draping cloak with skulls with horns on them. And it's always surrounded by spectral black flame. So who knows? He basically goes through the effort throughout all of these pages of just going to each one of the 3 captured Holy Knights, more or less freeing them. Low diffs Gerd's hand. Power scalers, get that ready. Gerd's hand has gone down in the power ranking. Free Sommers. Sommers goes out of his way to get his heart back before they leave that. Then they go and blow up the ice cube. We don't see the results of whether or not blowing up the ice cube was able to free Gunko or not, because then we immediately cut back to Luffy's group over at the Walrus School, where another Omen Ring of Fire goes around Killingham this time, freeing him from the Straw Hats' custody, I guess. And he manages to easily and quickly repel Sanji. And now we just have Emu face-to-face with Loki. But I don't see Sommers with Emu, so what happened to Sommers after Emu went and firebombed Ice Cube Gunko and freed Sir Killingham? Is like the Omen ring like teleporting them away? Is it taking them somewhere safe? I'm not sure. We saw it looked like Sommers could have flied with that ring. Who knows? But I'm not entirely sure. Also, I guess it's worth mentioning that Emu can create black wings and fly, which we kind of sort of already knew that they could do because when they possessed Gunku, they were able to get some wings and a tail. And that's definitely not part of the Arrow fruit powers. We don't seem to get a lot of insight into how Emu's powers work. We just get... They apparently have some black flamey thing that has a face that's called Omen that can easily no-diff a Zoro. It can create a circle of fire around people that does some sort of benefit. No clue what it does. And it is allowing Killingham to get away from Sanji. It is allowing Sommers to get away from the Giants. And it's theoretically able to blow up the ice cube that Gunko is sealed in. That being said, we have not seen the results of that attempt. That's also 3 locations that are very, very far away because he went from Arist Castle to wherever the Gerd was. I think she was with the Great Eric group. And then he was able to go to the end of Branch 8 where Gunko was frozen in an ice cube. And then he was going to go all the way to the Walrus School to where he was able to quickly free Killingham. This guy is like moving around so fast, he's got to be basically teleporting at this point because it shows him flying from location to location, but these locations are very, very far away. And he goes to all 3 of the battlefields in the span of 1 chapter. Which is also weird because, like, I was complaining about this like a few chapters ago where, like, Usopp was at the Walrus School and then managed to somehow be with Brook at the battlefield at Branch 8 with Emu Gunku Hybrid or whatever we're going to call that form. So, I'm not entirely sure where we're going. This was not my favorite chapter so far. I am very vocal about not liking a lot of action chapters because not a whole lot has happened here. Because if we just talk about what happened at the start of the chapter, Emu asked a question, got an answer, and then freed Sommers, left. Attempted to free Gunko, left. Attempted to free Killingham, and is now staring down Loki. That is more or less what happened in this chapter, and I was able to sum it up in about 3 sentences. This is why I'm not a big fan of action chapters. Like, if I were to be a director and direct this into an anime episode, it would be about 15 minutes. Just showing everything. But I guess that's enough out of me. I don't really have too many more future predictions or any other discussion points that I want to talk about. I feel like everything that needs to be said has been said, so I'm just going to go and move on to the outro now. So, if you enjoy these little reactions, there's a whole playlist of them on the channel for at least the majority of the Elbaph arc. I think it starts at around... My reactions start around chapter 1030 to 1033, in and around there. Sorry, 1130 to 1133. I don't remember. We've been doing this for a long time. We're doing it for at least a year at this point. But I feel like we're approaching the climax of this arc at this point, so we got to start winding down at a certain point. Maybe Emu leaves, maybe doesn't. But if you want to see more content like this, go check out the playlist. If you want to stay up to date, join the Discord, and look forward to a bunch of more content coming up on the YouTube channel. I stream these live whenever they come out on Twitch, the day of if I can, and if not, the Monday after. And then I'm going to put some chapters and a thumbnail on this, and you'll see it on the YouTube channel the day after. So, don't feel sad if you can't watch something live. A 4 YouTube version of that will be uploaded. Except for these. These don't get edited at all. These are really short. They're under like 30 to 40 minutes on average, so I just dump them straight onto the channel as VODs. So, until next time, stay safe out there, and I will see you all in the next stream. Bye-bye.